Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, all praises and double honors due to Yahweh by Shem Hamashiach wa Malak Yahushai. Secondly, this is Brother Yardan, WFI Detroit, coming back at you with yet another cold cut. Today in this video, I'll be not only bringing out verses that speaks expressly on how to be watchful and why it's important to be watchful, but also the links that I utilize to understand what's happening around this world and Babylon, America the Great. And with that, I want to begin with the book of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 41. And before I actually grab that, I want to also express and also further elaborate in this video why it's important. Because the Lord didn't just ask us, He really didn't ask to begin with. He didn't say, hey, be watchful because, I want you to know when's the next episode of this is coming out, or the latest premiere of this movie, or when the next kicks are coming out. That's not what the Lord told us to be watchful about, but more so be watchful in the signs and the tokens that He gives and presents us in this world, because it's going to introduce His second coming. So with that, I want to read the book of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 41. Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. And this is a beautiful verse because the Lord is telling us to watch and to pray, because you can't just watch alone. If you watch by looking through the multitude of social media sites, you can just get lost. And not only that, you can become fearful and doubt. And the Lord said anything that is of doubt is of sin, paraphrasing in a letter to Romans. And that's true. You can dive deep into the internet until it's all the way up to your shoulders, and you just get more fearful. That's why the Lord said, watch and pray. The two has to go hand in hand, because there may be times where you may get a little bit nervous, or perhaps in that day, which is Jacob's trouble, you may, be thinking to yourself, oh, Lord, where are you? That's what the Lord is telling you now. Watch and pray. There's no expiration. Well, there is an expiration date to this verse, because you can't watch and pray while you get burnt up when the Lord comes back. That's it. So the Lord is giving you the opportunity now to watch and pray. That's why every day you have to be thankful and watch, and you can't take it for granted. With that, I will read it again. Verse 41, watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation, but the spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. And that's true as well. Your spirit indeed is always going to thrive to worship and serve the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. However, being in this fleshly tabernacle is going to hinder us from time to time. It's going to make our knees weak. It may make you have fearful and doubtful thoughts. It may make you do things that are contrary to that which is good. However, that's why the Lord said over and over throughout the Bible, watch. He also said, be not afraid. There's a dozen times where the Lord states to not only man, but Israel as a nation, be not afraid, because He's going to be with us. And if that's not comfort, I don't know what is. With that, I want to move along to my next verse, which is Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. The background to this is Paul writing to the church of Ephesus, giving this church a lot of advice and information. In verse 15, it states, see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Now, again, you may be asking, well, how are the days evil? I'm living in a nice apartment, and I got my house. I don't hear gunshots at night. Well, the days are indeed evil, because you don't have to experience what these third world countries are experiencing to know that these days are evil. And in fact, if it really is evil in America, and if you can't realize that, Lord willing, you will by the end of this video, and especially with the links that I'll provide in the description box below. I want to jump to the book of 2nd Esdras while I still have time. Book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 16. Israel, you haven't seen nothing yet. And I haven't either, right? Nobody's seen and witnessed Jacob's trouble yet, but best believe that it's coming very soon and swiftly. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 9, verse 5, and it reads, I'll start at verse 4. I'll start at verse 1. He answered me then, said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before. Now the Lord isn't telling Esdras to get a measuring tape and a ruler, kind of calculate time and do mathematics like Newton, but more so kind of gauge what time period you're in based off the current events that's happening and link it up with the Bible. That's how you measure the time. Verse 2, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, and before I continue, the Lord surely will visit the earth. But before, as they say, what's the saying? Before the thunder, there's lightning. And so before the Lord comes, there's going to be tokens and signs made manifest. And it reads, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, the same way it says in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 7, even further on down, the love of many shall be waxed cold. Continuing on in verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. In other words, the end is going to be made apparently known unto you by these signs. A lot of people, you ask, well, Lord, prove to me this. Lord, show me that. Well, he's showing you. But a lot of our people that are simple and just completely ignorant to what's happening throughout this world, and they take it for a coincidence. Verse 6, even so the times of also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works and endings in effects and signs. The same way that there's signs and a lot of wonders shown even in the very beginning, when you read in the book of Genesis, chapter 19, verse 13, you have the rainbow. It's like that's Genesis 9 and 13. You have the rainbow. In Genesis 19 and 20 on down, you have Sodom and Gomorrah being destroyed. Even in the beginning, the Lord wrought signs and wonders. So shall it be into the very end, before his coming. And that's a fearful thing. Now, I don't say fearful so you can start shaking in your boots and you're so scared you just got to change your pants because you saw it yourself. But more so, it's fearful because you have to realize, wow, I have to take this serious. I have to do my due diligence to pray more, to read more, to study more, regardless of how tired I am. That's what the Lord said in Matthew 26. In verse 41 on down, the spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Your flesh is going to rot. It's going to get tired. You're going to get bruised. You're going to get headaches. You're going to starve. You're going to go through these colds. You're going to have chest pains. You're going to just feel every type of infirmity there is. However, nothing should stop you or separate you from the love you have from the Most High. And the love that you show the Most High has to be known. You can't just say you love him in heart, but not in deeds. With that, I want to jump to the book of 1 Peter, or to be more precise, the letter of Peter, chapter 4, verse 7. Before I grab that, I'll get that first. 1 Peter, chapter 4, verse 7. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. Sober meaning being alert. Be within your reason. Have your wits with you. The Lord demands that we be sober. That doesn't mean we can't drink yayan. Surely it tells us in the book of Psalms that wine make the heart glad and make the heart merry. But more so, don't be drunk. And the Lord didn't specify what type of drunk. I mean, that goes across the board. Don't be drunk off yan yan, even as it reads in Sirach chapter 19, verse 2. Wine and women maketh men of understanding fall away, along with Proverbs 20 on 1, along with Sirach chapter 30 on down. But also, don't be drunk off social media. And that in itself is a tool like anything else. But though it be a tool, you can't use it for evil. You can't use a knife for evil. You can use it for good. You can use it for defense. You can use it for cooking. You can use it for preparing a plenteous meal, but you can't use it for evil. The Lord also said, don't be drunk on anything. That just goes without saying, right? That's when you extrapolate and have wisdom and have discernment, but chiefly within this context, more so speaking spiritually. Reading on, verse 8. And above all things, have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins. And how much joy shall you have in these last days performing charity with a sincere heart? And how many sins shall the Lord just wipe away as a result of your charity? And that's something to think about. With that, I want to read 2 John, verse 8. Look to yourselves that we lose not those things which we have wrought, but that we receive a full reward, even as it reads in 2 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians chapter 15 or verse 50, right? Matter of fact, I'll read it. I misquoted. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 58. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Your labor is not in vain. All the times for you, brothers, specifically, that went out on the highways and byways, the Lord saw that. That's your works. That's your fruit. You being a tree, you have to yield fruit. Going out and doing work is a type of fruit. Calling up your brother is a type of fruit, which is charity, which is checking up on them, giving out food, giving out water, giving out clothes. All these things that I listed is a form of charity. So again, look to yourselves that we lose not those things which we have wrought, but that we receive a full reward. And our full reward, as we know, will be the kingdom of God. And that's what we look forward to. That's what our heart is pondering every single day in this captivity. And with that, I want to bring out one last verse in Ezekiel chapter 33 to tie it back to the beginning, because as I stated, I do have some links in the description box below that expressly go into detail on how to stay up to date in these last days. Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 1. Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people. Exactly. And so the trumpet is used for many purposes. For example, for music, but also in this context, it's an instrument for an alarm. It's to warn the people that the sword, aka war, is approaching. And so we do the same thing through the spirit of and power of Yahweh Shai Shai by gathering the intel, the information that's presented to us from these whistleblowers that's posted online and matching it up with the scriptures. That's how you diligently match the times, or measure the times, I should say. However, you can always depend upon those who conduct videos, but you also, as well, watching, have to do your due diligence to stay up to date, or else you're going to get caught out there. Because as you continue to read, for those people who won't, it's like for those people who won't hearken unto that trumpet, the blood is going to be upon your hands, right? So you as well have to pay attention. But with that, I'm going to bid Israel Shalom. Our Baratazah Israel's been edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shema Washai. Shalom.